Partnerem videa je Xiaomi se svým modelem 15 Ultra, které vyniká špičkovým jednopalcovým 50 megapixelovým hlavním snímačem s kalibrací Leica a podporou 8K videa.
Ahoj, vítejte na fDrive.cz a vítejte v krásném areálu v pražské Pragovce, kde Volvo představuje svoje ES90, novou vlajkovou limuzínu také pro český trh. No a mám tady vzácného hosta přímo ze Švédska, Frederika Linta, se kterým se o ES90 budu bavit, protože Frederik Lind je ES90 Commercial Lead, to je člověk, který má na starosti uvedení ES90 na trh, takže tady není povolanější osoba, které se mohu zeptat na zajímavé otázky. Rozhovor bude v angličtině, takže já do ní teďka přepnu a budu případně rád, pokud nějaké odpovědi na otázky nezazní, tak pokud se na ně třeba zeptáte v komentářích pod videem a my na ně třeba zkusíme zajistit ještě odpověď později. So, thank you for taking this interview and let me ask you a first question, because the introduction of the new flagship, especially flagship limousine, is for every car manufacturer, a very significant step. So how satisfied are you now with the public reception and the orders so far?
So far, I mean, it's exceeding our expectation. It's really good review and so on, and the order intake. But of course, we're still looking forward when the cars hit in the ground, so customer can go out and test drive, which will happen later on this year. And then we really get the experience, because a car like this, you should sit in it and really experience it.
And the first customers will have their cars delivered in autumn or the end of the year?
Yeah, end of the year.
End of the year, okay. But I made a mistake, especially in the first question, because I said it's a limousine. It's actually not, it's a liftback. What led to this decision? What is purely practical? Did customers request it? Why did you decide to do the ES90 as a liftback as opposed to the traditional limousine, which was the original S90?
Yeah, when we're talking about body type, there's a few different words you can utilize. So what we position it in the BEV era, you're leaving this classic three-box sedans, and it looks something else. So this is more of a class in its own, and this is how Volvo take in an E-class low car in the BEV era. Mm-hmm. This is how it looks, because it both some of these classic characteristics of a low car, but it's still having high level of versatility. I mean, as you mentioned, the hatchback and a slightly higher, so it's easier egress. So that is why we position it as more of a class of its own. So it's not defined like that. We don't classify it as a liftback.
All right.
But it's more of a E-class car, and then you have to position it in the BEV era. It looks different. We don't have the traditional, you know, it's not this...
three-box design, yeah. But at the same time, this segment is highly competitive. On one side, there are strong German car brands, and on the other, the Chinese companies are eager to take this core. So was it about the ES90 which will convince people to choose it? The few things that will convince people to choose ES90 over those brands or those competitors?
I think, firstly, we're coming from the Scandinavian heritage and the Scandinavian design. So it's more of discreet luxury. This is a car, I mean, if you look at it, it's confident car, but it's not a braggy showing off car. And of course, it's a part of population. They're looking into this more discreet, and it's also right level of technology. We don't have all the technology that's available in the market, but we have the technology that we think people appreciate, and it should be simple to use, so it's user-friendly. And then again, of course, it's a lot of the Volvo heritage and development. We have the Spark 2, the platform, that also the EX90. So a lot of platform benefit when we're now moving into more of a software-defined vehicle, because that's also what we're coming with here. It's software-defined, and a lot of the text that enable also to enhance features as we go ahead, delivering over-the-air upgrades.
You're talking about the same platform as with the EX90, so it's built on the same SPA2 platform. But there are some differences. ES90 is your first car which is based on the 800 volts architecture, so we have 350 kilowatts charging, which is quite amazing. Are there any other differences between ES90 based on the technical specs or on the platform, except that it's 800 volts?
Yeah, it's a Volvo first on 800 volt, but one of the ideas with the super tech stack Volvo have is to have a lot of features that should not be, that you, even if you launch it first on an ES90, then it could be later updated on EX90 and vice versa.
Could be.
It could be.
Will be.
Could be. We have a good example, Apple CarPlay, coming from the start on an ES90, and then it will roll out on an EX90 afterwards. But if we're talking hardware feature, we have the 800 volt with a lot of benefits connected to that. And it's not just the battery. We are staying with the 800 volt. It's the Volvo system. It is, you have the battery management system, and you have Volvo developed electrical engines. So when talking about twin performance, if we are on 500 kilowatt or 680 horsepower, so this is quite a big car, but if you take it in 4 seconds, that's of course something that is, I would say, unnecessary quick on a car like this. But that's thanks. So it's not the 800 volt. But then
it's safety features.
Yeah, you can overtake safety.
Yeah. What I asked about the EX30, why it has the twin motor performance, why they have such a big output horsepower. Volvo told me it's a safety feature.
No, but it's of course safety. You can. That's a good spin. But also we have the electrochromic roof on this one that we don't have on the EX90, and it's of course very convenient. You have panoramic roof on all cars, but then on a higher trim level that you can have it shaded, and then you push a button and get the panoramic roof. So you don't specifically sit in the rear seat. You don't get the shining in your head.
So from the hardware point of view, you have different engines in here than in the EX90? Okay.
Yeah, we have the new Volvo developed electrical engines.
Okay.
So generation 3 of electrical engines.
Okay. And so what's the main difference? Are they, of course they are more powerful, but are they also more effective? Or?
Yeah, less weight, more powerful, and then it's integration, because it's we have the battery, Volvo developed, and Volvo ERAD, and the battery management system, and all these together, that is kind of what creating the benefits. The engines per se, that's ensuring the 4.6 seconds acceleration, but then of course the management system together with the battery, it's also the charging time, because we have also collaboration that we have a company called Brief, that have software technology. You know, we have 16 battery cells, and then it's a logic, how do you ensure the charging of the cells, and that's a lot of the battery management. So we're down to just about 20 minutes for 10 to 80 with easy charging, thanks to these technologies.
Are you already driving the ES90 or not yet?
No, I've been driving. No, I'm driving the EX90.
Okay.
So, but the ES90 I drove it a few times, but it's. So we have a few cars out on the street, but now it's still with the engineering community. We're still in the verification process.
I am asking that because I wanted to ask what's the real life range you are seeing. Do you have any data from like real life tests? How many % more you can get in real life from the ES90 as opposed to the EX90s? Is it like more aerodynamic?
It's so difficult to comment on real life data, but we tested to the WLTP. It's not, but it just now I can double check the figures, but EX90 is 600 kilometers.
This one is
the rear wire 650, and the all-wheel drive with the 106 kilo, it's 700.
Yes.
So we get another nominal 100 kilometers, but my experience from the EX90 is, you're not always reaching the 600, but you're quite close. I mean, we're not so far off, but that's we don't have that data on and we don't comment really on because it's so much dependencies, the weather, the roads, and the conditions. So it's hard to say what is the.
You mentioned the versions, and it's also interesting thing because you are doing it a little bit differently than the other car manufacturers. Usually the cars like that the version which has a longest range is the rear-wheel drive only, because it has the same battery as the dual motor version, but not with Volvo, because you have a twin motor and twin motor performance versions which have bigger battery than the single motor extended range. Why is that?
No, I think when we set the technology plan and when we decide how to launch the car, it's of course a lot of combination. We have our tech stack, and then we foresaw this was the correct way to launch the ES90, because it's the rear wheel drive and with the smaller battery. You could say, why don't you have the premium version? But it's also, how do you balance the technology plan with the sales plan? So that was more of a, that's the rationale behind it.
Okay. And we also know that the single motor, not extended range version is coming. What battery does it have, and when it comes out?
Can't comment on the non-extended range version.
All right. Speaking of the interior, I noticed that you have returned the option for customers to order a fully leather interior with Nappa leather, which is not available with the EX90. And what's the reason for this? And also the second question connected to that is if you will also offer an interior with the wool seats as in the EX90, which are not in the ES90. So what's the plan and logic behind that?
But the wool seats you can order. You can get the wool seats on ES90. On the Ultra you can opt in on the wool seat. And on leather, I think a lot of people appreciate leather. Not offer, I mean, we're following what the customer wants. Volvo took a brave leap, said no leather, but then we're meeting the customer on their requirement. Specifically, you know, we don't want the leather question stand behind you and choosing a BEV. If that's it's important, so that's why we brought it back. And then we have to evaluate the future offers for the other car lines.
And it's also very interesting that you also opt for the ventilated seats at the back. So this is like more for the I don't know Chinese market, that the people tend to drive in the back in the ES90 and so on. So they will have the same level of comfort as in the front, right?
No, but I think it's important. China is a big market for these cars. So some of the takeaway features, they are very dedicated for China, but I think I really enjoy the ventilated rear seats, because we do a lot of test drive when it's hot, and then I mean, I have kids. If I have this car, you get less complaining from the rear seat. You don't need to be the executive sitting in the rear seat. I think it's good for anyone sitting in the rear seat to have this feature.
So design it for kids.
Yeah,
that
was my use case, but then of course it's.
Sure. One of the prominent features of the EX90 and also the ES90 is the LiDAR on top. When I was testing the EX90 a few months ago, it was still in the information gathering mode, let's say. So it does not actively contribute to the active driving assistant. Is it the same with the ES90, and what are the plans and roadmap for this? Because I know that you have big plans for the autonomous drive level 3 and so on. That's why the LiDAR is there. Are there any differences now between the ES90 and EX90, and what's the road plan for that?
They are on par when it comes. That's why we're coming back to the super tech stack, that we are on par. So what we have on EX90 and all the information package, now we're gathering information. And then when cars coming out, then we will roll out offers when they're available to the markets. And we still have to wait on that communication, how the rollout will look like, as with the EX90. Okay.
And even with the current assisted drive, 2.5, let's say it this way, the LiDAR is not contributing to the driving.
No, but I think they have different, when it comes to LiDAR and the sensor set on the car. I mean, we have one LiDAR, 7 cameras, 7 radar, 12 ultra sensors. They collecting data, and then we have Orin Navida processors collecting with the Volvo algorithms to ensuring and collecting data. But they also doing a lot when it comes to safety functions. So we're discussing a lot in this context autonomous drive, but the system per se stepping in. It's not that maybe it's not the LiDAR, it's all the safety system will collect data. And that data is of course a lot of features that you can utilize. And you can see better in the dark, and you can see also. So we're not selling this as a safety feature per se, but all the system is of course, the root cause is based on safety with all this computer. And then we have to wait a bit to comment on the autonomous drive feature and the rollout plan, as with the EX90. So we follow through with both cars on that.
And since you said that the ES90 is coming to the first customers by the end of this year, is there going to be by that time something different software-wise? Some like new features which are not present in the EX90 or ES90, but something which you can comment on already?
We have to wait with comment.
Okay. How often do you plan to release the OTA updates for the car?
Normally we have 4 updates per year, and big customer feature of course come with the model year introduction. But normally it's the 4 times per year cadence, or even more often if there is. We can do it more, but that's the plan. If we follow the normal plan, 4 times per year.
Okay. Personally, I would appreciate having possibility to display consumption constantly in the display ahead of me, and also to configure widgets. You know, the 2 widgets under the map on the main screen, just to put something else there. That would be nice.
Yeah. No, but I think you can configure a lot of. Now I'm not 100% on top of the UX. But I mean, you can choose your app and you can choose how it looks like. And the consumption you can read out, but you don't get it. You get the range estimate, of course, when you drive the car.
For the consumption, you have to go to the
it's more
car status.
Yeah, it's more complicated to get the consumption.
Okay. And what is the status now for the vehicle to load, vehicle to home and grid functions? How do you see that in connection with the legislature and so on?
The cars are hardware ready. I mean, we have the hardware in the car, and then we have the rollout plan is not fully communicated, so we have to pass on that.
And vehicle to load as well, or it's already capable of it is with the adapter, or it's not?
We can't comment now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Also, the Volvo ES90 is currently manufactured only in China, right? Which is, I guess, a little bit impractical due to the tariffs in the USA and the EU. And you did the same with the EX30, which was originally manufactured only in China. Then you switched also to Belgium.
Yeah, to the Ghent plant. Yeah.
And is this the same plan for the ES90 to lower the costs or not? Or
no, at this stage it's in the Chengdu plant. So I mean, China is a big market, and then we still export it into European markets and most part of the world. The US trade, we have not made a decision on US. It's a bit volatile, the tariff situation.
Yeah. Okay, but the EX90 is manufactured in USA as well.
Yes, in Charleston plant.
Yeah. So since it's the same platform, it could be possible, but there are still no decisions about that. No decision. All right. Okay. Anything else you want to add regarding the ES90? What do you like the most?
No, but I think it's the design when you see the car and you sit in it. And
the Swedish design.
Yeah, the Swedish design, and also it comes from the EX90. It's so silent. I mean, we're discussing luxury and premiumness. I mean, if you drove on the EX90, it's so. And then have you had the Bauer and Wilkins Dolby Atmos? That's also. I mean, you sit in a silent car and then you wonder, it's unnecessary good. That's how good it is. I think. Okay. And also then, of course, when it comes with the 800 volt, that the drivability, I mean, it's taking the EX90 driving feeling to the next level. That's even better. So I think both driving and comfort, that's what I like. But you need to see it in the flesh. So all you guys here you talk with, they should see it and really experience. That's my advice.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's up to Petra where we are gonna be able to drive it.
Yeah.
But the EX90 is like you are absolutely right. It's like very comfortable car. And what was the? I also said it in a review that was my first reaction that my wife had. The comfort is absurd. So if it's the same, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and what my wife say on the EX90 is the massage also in the front seats. They really appreciate sitting, ventilated, massaged front seat. That's my wife talking about wife comments.
Okay. Nice. So can't wait to drive it, and good luck with the orders and updates and everything which is connected to the ES90. And thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
A já vám také děkuji za vaši pozornost. Budu rád, pokud se případně ještě zeptáte na něco, co tady nezaznělo. Pokud vás něco zajímá, tak se pokusíme získat odpověď. Díky moc za sledování tohoto videa. Mějte se krásně a u dalšího Futurecastu Special. Ahoj. Elektrický zdar.